Paulie Malignaggi here for another episode of Paulie TV. We've got a big fight coming up very soon. This weekend, Gervonta Davis in another pay-per-view headliner takes on Rollie Romero. And Gervonta Davis more and more is becoming one of the bigger stars in boxing, one of the more recognizable faces. And as you become one of the more recognizable faces, you become both a fan favorite and also a target for criticism. This is sort of how it works. Remember Cat Williams saying, you know what? If he doesn't have anybody to hate on, feel free to hate on him. You're not a star until you have enough haters. Well, and I take that as you're not a star until you have both love and hate from everyone. You're able to generate an opinion from everyone. And Gervonta Davis is sort of getting himself to that point where, everybody knows who he is. So therefore, once they know who you are, there's always an opinion. And Gervonta's been looking spectacular lately, one of the biggest punchers in the lighter weight divisions. I personally liked the adjustment he'd made against Pitbull Cruz, and I like what he showed in that fight. People are going to say, Pitbull was a better, once he started fighting that better opposition, he wasn't able to be the same kind of puncher. It's possible. Listen, whenever you fight better fighters, it's harder to knock them out. I mean, they're better fighters for a reason. They're both talented, and they typically come with better chins as well, right? And the Pitbull fight showed me something, though. While you can also take the fact that, he wasn't trying to stop him because, he probably had to respect the power of Pitbull Cruz, I like the fact that Gervonta has another gear to him, and he was able to show it. I had seen Gervonta since earlier in his career, so I kind of knew he could always box well, set traps, speed, all that other stuff. And in the fight with Pitbull, he kind of went back to that. He started boxing very well, showed some real good athleticism, and won toughed out a rugged decision against Pitbull Cruz. I wouldn't mind seeing Pitbull get another shot at Gervonta. It's funny because they're talking about Ryan Garcia fighting Pitbull Cruz, but I don't think Isaac Cruz matches up as well against Ryan Garcia as he does against Gervonta Davis. And that's not to say that for sure. I think Ryan Garcia is a better fighter than Gervonta Davis. Only a direct fight, head-to-head clash would tell you that. But styles do make fights, and Ryan is a lot taller, a lot leaner, and from the outside can probably pick off Pitbull a little bit better than Gervonta was able to, because Gervonta's kind of like the same height as Pitbull, and so he had to use a different manner of approach. Having said that different manner of approach showed the different wrinkles Gervonta Davis has. He's a very good boxer, as well as a big puncher. And so when you had a stubborn guy like Pitbull Cruz, he wound up going back to his boxing skills, athleticism, speed, and all that other stuff, and got the decision. I don't think we're going to see a rematch with Pitbull and Gervonta. He even said hell no when Jim Gray asked him if there was a rematch on the table. So we're looking at Rollie Romero. And in the Rollie Romero fight, listen, Rollie Romero is a big puncher as well on paper. He's got some big knockout power, but he's never faced really anybody of the level of Gervonta Davis. And the thing about going into a big fight like this, and I can always go back to myself in my first big fight, which is the Miguel Cotto fight. You are going in confident, you're undefeated, you're going in confident, but you're also inexperienced, right? So you've got to kind of brace yourself for the things you might see, the things you might face in a kind of fight like this that you may not have faced ever in your career. Just so when you endure them, when you have to go through them, you're kind of mentally prepared for the tough situation, right? And that's kind of like what I was telling myself in the Cotto fight. In the build-up, I was talking a lot of trash, but in the back of my mind, I always knew this is going to be a tough fight. This guy's strong, and I'm going to be in an atmosphere that is very, very rugged. Like these kind of atmospheres, you fought earlier in your career, you're fighting in smaller arenas. I had fought in small casinos like Foxwoods and things like that, even early. I had fought even on big undercards where the crowd is there, but the crowd is not there for the main event. So during the undercard, the crowd is not as live as it is for the main event. So I had fought in big arenas before, but when it's the main event, when you're the fight that everybody's been anticipating for months, they react a bit differently to everything. The walkouts, the introductions, the fight itself, punches landed, punches missed, knockdowns, everything. It's a different feel once you are the fight of the night that people have been anticipating and waiting for. And so from that perspective, the emotion of the moment can eat you up. Rollie Romero is going to be in a situation where even when punches are missed, flying heavy punches thrown and missed, the crowd's going to be going crazy. If the big punches land, the punches are going to loud, crowd's going to be going crazy. It's going to be louder than you've ever had it before in any situation. I mean, especially it's a buzz. It's a fight people have been waiting for 4 months, and for all these months they've been waiting for it. The anticipation and the build-up kind of raises the expectation. So when you're in there, it's a different feel. Granted, at the same time, there's a positive to that. It's your moment. It's the moment you've been waiting for your whole life. It's the moment that you tell yourself you've been, you dreamed of when you started boxing, right? Everybody dreams of this moment. The world title fight, the big fight, the sold-out arena. I mean, Gervonta Davis is becoming so popular. I've got one of my guys who still works over at Showtime, and he told me that Gervonta's selling tickets at a rapid rate for this fight, which is, just kind of shows you the level of stardom that he has. So from that perspective, I like the fight. I think it's a fun fight. I'd like to see Gervonta eventually move on to more recognizable names. But let's break down this fight right now. For this reason, I've seen Romero, and he's a dangerous puncher. But for this reason, I've seen him. I also, for the reasons I just gave you, the inexperience, I don't know that he can handle the boxing ability of Gervonta. The things I saw from Gervonta in the Pitbull Cruz fight, I think are going to come into play in this fight. They could probably go head-to-head in a firefight. They probably could, right? And I think Gervonta punches a little shorter. I think Gervonta punches a little crisper than the heavy-handed Romero. But I don't know that Gervonta needs to put himself in that position to go toe-to-toe, head-to-head with a big puncher like that. I think Gervonta can set traps and break him down. And then with those traps and breakdowns, his big punches landing off of those traps are going to do just as much damage while putting himself less at risk. So I can see probably Romero coming in hungry, wanting to make the fight, but also being a little tense and tight because the atmosphere and the moment, the anxiety of the moment may get to him a little bit. I wonder when he's on stage at these press conferences, how he's feeling, but he looks a little bit nervous to me. Like he's looking like he's trying to force out the trash talk when it's not coming naturally. I feel like Romero just has to be himself, and if he's a good trash talker, he's a good trash talker. If he's not, he's not. He's got to focus on what he's gonna do on fight night. But I feel like the anxiety of the moment is making him say things that don't make a lot of sense. Like I was looking at the trash talk for I think in the last day or two. I was on social media, and it just wasn't crisp. Even Gervonta was like, "What is this guy saying?" So Gervonta's been there. You don't try to be the guy that's been there. Just be the guy that has been hungry his whole life and wants to take advantage of the moment. You don't have to be anybody you're not, because just being who you are got you the fight, right? So you don't have to kind of be anybody you're not. Gervonta, on the other hand, is a guy who's been there. He's done that. He's been at this level, and he's relaxed in the moment. He's going to come in there and he's looking to handle his business. Here's how I see the fight breaking down. I think Gervonta is going to go back to his boxing. I think he's going to be sharp. I think he's going to set the traps, and I don't think Romero is going to be able to deal with that the trap set by Davis and his boxing ability, and he's going to probably get walked into big shots in a manner where Gervonta's not putting himself at risk. Gervonta's going to do it in a smart way. He's not just going to go toe to toe, and I can probably see the fight ending in about 6 or 7 rounds at most. If the fight plays out the way I'm imagining it. Now, if Romero is able to get to Gervonta and land those shots, and break down the boxing ability of Gervonta and able to land some big shots, then the fight gets interesting, especially if you're able to get Davis's attention or even knock him down or whatnot. The fight can get interesting because then you might be able to drag Gervonta into a mud fight, so to speak, into a drag-out fight where he's not using all of his natural gifts and tools, and he's just trying to fire his punching power with your punching power, because then at that point it becomes anybody's fight. And I think that's Romero's only option. But in order to get the fight to that point, I think Gervonta Davis is too smart. Everybody looks at this fight like, oh, Gervonta is just gonna go up to him and slam him out. I don't see it that way. But if you're able to drag Gervonta Davis into this kind of fight, which I don't see Gervonta Davis looking for that kind of fight. I see Gervonta Davis fighting a smarter fight and then stopping him in the middle rounds, like I said. If you're able to drag Gervonta Davis into that kind of rugged mud fight, then you give yourself your best option to land your big shot. Although you're still at risk yourself of taking a big bomb from Gervonta Davis, because then it's just a firefight. But I think that's Romero's only chance. I think that's I would say his only chance. I don't want to be far-fetched, but definitely his best chance. I'll put it that way. There's levels to this, and Romero may end up losing this fight, but maybe he can come back stronger and learn from the experience. I don't think his ability to box or set traps is as intelligent or as smart, or even he doesn't have the ability as much as Gervonta Davis does. And I think that's basically how the fight is gonna break down. Now to take it to the fight itself and the network. I've kind of I've not said a lot about Showtime since my parting ways, but I have to put this out there because it's so obviously hypocritical. Rolando Romero the fight was taken away from him last year when Pitbull Cruz came in as a substitute opponent due to some circumstances outside of the ring. And whether you agree with this or not, that's the decision that was made. And I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I have to set this, but you have to hold your standard. In order to not be a hypocrite, you have to hold your standard. And it seems to me that at Showtime, they don't understand how to hold the standard. They are as hypocritical as they come over there. And the reason I say this in this particular case is because Gervonta Davis is on camera slapping a woman, being physically, abusive to a woman. And again, whether you agree that should take you away from the fight or give you the fight or make you lose the fight contract, that's a different conversation altogether. I'm not saying I agree with one or the other. Things happen in life, okay? Nobody's a perfect person. But if you're going to hold the standard for Rolando Romero, then how come you never held the standard for Gervonta Davis, who did this about a year before the Rolando Romero fight ever came into play? You always kept the contract, you always kept the TV dates for him open and ready to go. So when you point one finger, just remember there's three fingers pointed back. Hypocrites are always hypocrites. And at the end of the day, I have to put it out there, man, because there's a lot of hypocrisy over there. And hey, listen, man, people are going to say, oh, well, you have there's hypocrisy when there was in my situation too. People never got to really hear the full brunt of the story or my end of the story, and probably not going to get it because all the media out there are a bunch of punks who, when I offered to give the story, nobody covered it. And I know, that's why we started. That's actually why we started Paulie TV, because I'm not going to give any free views or clicks and likes and subscribes to other pages when I can do it myself and talk boxing myself. That way I can discuss what I want to discuss and break down fights for you on my page and not so much on other pages unless I work for the other pages, such as ProBox TV. They also, over there, I think we've got a great podcast with Roy Jones and Antonio Tarver. And I may be even starting a Spanish language broadcast with Juan Manuel Marquez over there, so be on the lookout for that one. It's ProBox TV Espanol. So that was the kind of the mindset behind starting this channel and all of the other stuff, is because I'm sick of dealing with the hypocrisy of both the media and the suits over at the networks. And so we did this my way. And when it came to the Gervonta Davis Rolando Romero fight, it was just in my face. You put it in my face. The hypocrisy is just in my face now. I'm not personally involved in this situation. But again, I can't help but to see the hypocrisy behind this, And again, I'm not telling you I agree with one or the other. Listen, I want the best for Rolando Romero and Gervonta Davis. Don't get it twisted. I'm not telling you have to act one way or the other way. But I'm just saying, if you're in charge and you're the one doing the decision making based on your standards or your supposed standards, because let's face it, when you're a hypocrite, you don't have any standards. If they're your standards, then you're supposed to always keep the same standard all the time, no matter what the situation is. And when you virtue signal, you typically cut your own head off ultimately, because there's no way anybody can hold that standard all the time. Anyway, that's my breakdown of Gervonta Davis versus Rolando Romero and my opinions behind the whole fight of it getting made or not made back when it was not made, and then now that it's made. Like I said, I want the best for both Davis and Romero. I want the best for probably most fighters in the business. I know how tough of a business this is, and so I love the fact that fighters get a chance to make money and do this and entertain you guys. And I do believe no matter how long the fight lasts between Gervonta Davis and Rolando Romero, I think the fight will entertain. They're both big punchers. Anytime you put big punches in the ring with each other, you can't take your eyes off the ring because anything could happen. So enjoy the fight. That's my breakdown for Gervonta Davis versus Rolando Romero this weekend. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of everything I've just discussed, and I'll talk to you guys soon.